All right.
We're so bad at this.
We are the worst. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode
23.
23
Yep.
of Mom Needs a Minute.
Yeah.
I'm Emily.
I'm Chelsea.
Oh,
And
shit.
we already said
And this
it.
is Mom Needs a Minute. Shit. Hold on. Delete that, Chelsea. Let's start over. I'm just kidding. It's been a long week or so here in my household, so I'm tired. So, Chelsea, why don't you start and tell us why you need a minute?
I don't know. I mean, there's just a lot going on, I think. I mean, like, fucking last week, Nolan got a tooth pulled.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know, he was fine.
I know,
handled
but
it.
I'm convinced that teeth pain is literally tooth pain and back pain are like my top two, where if that's happening, I'm all done. I will not be functioning anymore.
Yeah, because he had an infection in the tooth.
Oh my god, ow.
Yeah, so he had to wait a week before they would take it out. So yeah,
ouch.
Yeah. I mean,
oh my god, that sounds horrible.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it bothered him before, and when he got it done, it didn't bother him.
Kids are so disgustingly resilient.
They are.
It's insane.
Like, he wasn't supposed to eat anything not soft, essentially.
Yep.
For I don't know how many days. Yeah, he didn't even last 24 hours.
Oh, and no. Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
I believe that. Bentley had like other little knobs put onto his braces to pull teeth into where they need to be, and he wasn't supposed to eat anything really like too tough after that for the 24 hours or whatever. And he was like, he got home and he was immediately eating like chips and salsa, and I was like, oh, okay, so we're fine then, I suppose. My teeth hurt looking at you, but okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, my 12-year-old is tougher than I am.
That's what I was thinking. Nolan like handled Novocaine like a champ, and I'm like, I have to have drugs for that. And you're sitting here like all fine and dandy at 9 o'clock in the morning, just taking it like a champ. I'm like,
that was kind of how Bentley did when we pulled his 2 teeth. He didn't even notice that the dentist was putting the like shot into his gums.
Yeah.
And he's like sitting there talking, whatever, kind of to us, obviously like holding his mouth still enough to put the shot into his gums. And then the dentist goes over to the other side and starts putting the Novocaine shots in there. And he was like, oh my God. And that's when the first one was still already fully numb. And now he's upset because he's getting a shot. I was like, you know what, honey, we really, we tried to tell you, get these teeth out so we don't have to do this. But 2, dude, you already did half of it without even noticing that the dentist was doing anything. So you're fine.
Nolan noticed it, but he goes, oh, it hurts a little bit. And then I don't think they stopped. I think they said it felt like a sting because they essentially just put it in there. And then he was fine.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
No, I mean, no, I just gotta wait for the bill to come, and that's when
the
Mom
scariest part. That's the scariest part of the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm not excited, especially because he had an appointment before that, and that's where we learned that it was infected and all that. But what can you do?
I don't know.
A dang thing.
Sounds like you're being a good mom though and taking care of it like as soon as you can. So he's not in more pain or something by having an infected tooth for a long period of time or something. So that's good.
And they had to wait a week because he had to take antibiotics to get rid of the infection first, obviously.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So, yeah. But, yeah, the only thing he was really sad about is the fact that he couldn't really talk. because his mouth was numb, and then he had to put gauze in there. And he couldn't eat chicken nuggets and French fries.
Okay, not that does not shock me at all. That's what he's upset about, is that he can't have chicken nuggets.
No.
That is not
Yeah.
a shock to me at all.
Yeah. He like actually cried, and I'm like, buddy, you can probably have them tomorrow. We just need to see how you are. But today, you need to stick to like noodles.
And he loves buttered noodles, though. So
yeah, no, he just loves noodles. But at the same time, chicken nuggets and French fries are like his jam.
Yeah, but you can't beat chicken nuggets and French fries. However, he does like noodles. So
yeah, he does.
Oh my God, there's a fly. Do you see that?
Damn. Yeah, get rid of those things.
I want to. We're gonna. Fuck! Ow! We're gonna bug bomb the house again. I think this weekend actually.
Again?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, and the problem is that like now that we have the kittens, we have to like lock the critters up differently when we leave the house. So the dogs have to be locked up differently. The kittens have to be, and then our just normal house cats are doing their thing. So it's like, but now there's like another way to get bugs, which is heinous. But we haven't had a chance to like put, like, say, a dog door in, or we haven't had a chance to do any sort of thing along those lines where it would, stop creatures that don't belong in my house into my house.
Yeah.
So. But
yeah. I feel like flies just find ways in no matter what. Like even
honestly, it's
they just show up.
Disgusting.
It is. It's nasty.
God,
I hate it.
They're the worst. And like I'm like, oh my God, I don't want any more flies ever. I don't want to see another fly ever again. But then in my head, I'm like, okay, well, they're fucking helpful in nature, and we need them.
Are they though?
They are for decomposition, and if we didn't have flies for decomposition, we would just be living in a land full of dead things. So, like,
I think I'll take that.
Like millions of years of dead things, like dinosaurs wouldn't have even broken down.
See, that'd be perfect. Then we know they existed.
Nope. You won't want that.
We don't know that flies even existed then. Are they dinosaurs?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, they are. So are chickens. Okay. Lots of things came, like lots of things that we still have today are from the dinosaur periods. And flies and other kind of like nasty shit eaters are some of them. And as annoying as they are, like maggots and stuff, we need them. As disgusting, and I know it's disgusting, we do need them. Because imagine how big dinosaurs were and how much space they took up, but then that was millions of years ago, and so all of these other things, trees, plants, whatever, other critters, everything dies, and nothing is there to break them down at all. We would not have any space to live right now.
My tiny apartment also has no space, so I think I would want
Maybe you need more flies then.
Yeah, to kill off one of these cats, probably.
Bye, BK.
Yeah, you knew that was coming. He's the stinkiest. He'd definitely be the first one to go. He's the dumbest, too, so he'd let it happen.
I don't know, Meatball.
Oh! Michael is not gonna...
He's not gonna listen to this, so...
You're right. He actually created a song.
Go get him and tell him that he needs to come and sing it for me real quick.
He won't. He won't even... He barely sings it for me anymore.
God damn it.
Because I make him do
Will
it so much.
Will you sing it for me?
Okay, I'm not gonna sing it. I can say it.
You know what? I don't like that. I wish you would sing it, but I understand. I get it. So
it's
no. Tell me this. I know, and I'm gonna yell at him later about it. Apparently.
Okay, good, perfect. Because he won't sing it for me anymore, and it's so sad because he was so cute when he sang it. He just sang it straight to Meatloaf.
Okay, let me hear it.
Okay, so it goes. My name is Meatloaf. I'm not a meatball.
my god. Is there like a specific tune that you can sing this?
Oh yeah.
Is it like row, row,
Yes.
row your boat? My name is
No, it's
Meatloaf.
more okay.
I'm not a meatball.
I'm not a meatball. Yeah, basically.
Okay, keep going. Keep
Yep.
going.
That's all it is. And you just repeat it over and over
God.
again, but it's so funny when he sings it.
Michael! Just kidding.
He does, yeah, he won't even sing it for Nolan. Nolan hasn't even heard it, I don't think.
God, he's so lame.
I don't know why he even came up with it. We were just sitting there one day and all of a sudden he started singing it to Meatloaf.
Oh my god. I literally corrected it within a split second of making the mistake of calling him Meatball. I corrected it instantly.
Not to him.
Oh my
nope.
god. It's been like a year. No, we were in this house. But it's been like we were in this house, but it's been like 6 months.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Since I messed that up. And
he's not letting it go. He will not let that go.
Oh my god. I'm just gonna start calling Michael Meatball. It's Meatloaf and Meatball.
I don't know how well that would go.
I don't care. I don't care. Meatball Michael.
No. That will literally not go well at all.
Meatball my Oh, okay, well. I'm taking notes for next time I see we hang out here soon.
You'll just have to sing the song and pretend like you don't know how you know it.
My name is Meatloaf. I'm not a meatball.
Oh, poor Meatloaf.
Oh my god. We have really gone off the rails with that.
Yeah, we escalated that aggressively. I feel like I had something to say, but I don't remember what it is anymore. I need to write this down.
Well, you gotta come up with it. And have
give
them. Will you take my cup, please? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Why do you need a minute?
Because I have become a new mom. To 2 babies. Look at this baby boy. No, this baby boy. I will send you pictures. He is this. Look at him. Oh, he'd fall asleep right here. Look at him. Okay, can you take a picture of this? Look at this boy. Yeah, take pictures so that we can show everybody how small my kitties are. Look at this boy. This is Oreo. Oh, he's such a baby.
He's so cute.
Oreo, I know, he's a snuggly boy. He is not ready to be a killer, okay?
I don't think he's gonna be.
He's not ready.
He's not ready.
Ow!
I don't think he's leaving the indoors.
He'll stay here like a... No, he'll sit here like a little parrot. Okay, and then we have... This is Reese's. Look at what a fucking...
Orange cats, man. Good luck with the orange one. That's all I gotta say.
No, look at him.
Oh, he's cute. Good luck.
I know.
Ouch! Yep, kitten claws.
I know, but they're so fucking cute. Okay. They're gonna sit in here with me for a little bit.
They've been inside the living room for quite a while.
Well, I didn't even know you guys were inside yet. Well, honey, don't knock my shit over.
Well, I don't have work.
It's my room!
No.
It's not in your fucking way. You still have a pathway. Look at them. Look at them.
He's so cute.
I know.
He has like a little mustache. Little stashy.
Oh, that's problem. And then this guy, he's a fighter. He's ready
orange. Orange cats, I tell you what, they're just something fierce, man.
Can you say hi?
Hey, Oreo.
Don't take... Actually, if you would take them. Oh, I love them. I love them. Ow! No, I can't. He's got a... Ow, he had a hold of my...
They're like Velcro.
I know they are. Thank you for bringing them in here. Aren't they just the tiniest, cutest little fucking things you've ever seen in your life?
Cute.
I love them so much. Okay, so why I need a minute is we've had them for a week now, and they're getting bigger. Like, this is the bigger version of them because we've had them.
It's disgusting how fast they grow.
It is, and the thing that I love about little kittens is their little, I call them pinky tails because they stick straight
they're
up.
so tiny. They just like,
I call them little pinky tails, and they both have little pinky tails, but they're starting to grow, and so their pinky tails are
like,
starting to like, go away
yeah.
a little bit, and it's making my heart so sad. But I can still hold them in one hand, and they're so tiny. I do have a vet appointment for them on Tuesday, so we're gonna get them checked out. I don't even know how old they are. They don't have all their teeth yet. They only have their like little fangs.
Wow.
They don't even have all their teeth.
Where did your mom find them?
In her wood pile.
And no mom?
Nope. Mom abandoned them. Well, my aunt found them. Or my uncle found them because he was grabbing one of the pieces of equipment out of the field.
Yeah.
And he saw them when he was grabbing that, and he called my aunt and said, "Hey, there's kittens in this wood pile." And then my aunt called my mom, and they went out and found the kittens.
I thought there was 3 of them for some reason.
Mm-mm.
I feel like
nope.
I thought I saw 3 in that one picture, the first one. That's weird
Mm-mm.
though. 2 is an odd number, so the mom had to have taken the other one somewhere.
Well, either that or my mom is afraid to go digging through the wood pile and see if maybe there should have been more, and it just wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah.
So. Nope. So I have those little babies. They're the love of my life.
Cute. It's gonna be sad when they have to stay outside, though.
I'm so upset about it already, and we still have probably 4 weeks at least before they have to go outside.
It's gonna be
permanently.
so cold. That's the
shitty
part.
I know, and we have a little house for them.
Yeah.
Right on the deck, so that they can be in there, block themselves from the wind, and then they are going to be able to get into the barn. And they're going to have food, like access to food and like water that's not frozen and all of that stuff. So they're going to be like well cared for.
Still, though, it's just
especially after having them inside for so long and snuggling with them all day, every day with them, because oh my god, they love to snuggle.
They're kittens. I feel like kittens love to snuggle. As soon as they hit like that peak where they're bigger, they all of a sudden just don't give a shit anymore. Then you're gonna be like, go away.
And then today, Oreo fell into his little milk bowl. And so now he's all kind of crusty on the one side because I haven't had a chance to help him clean him. But his brother Reese's is like occasionally just licking him to try to help clean him up. And it's the cutest thing that I've ever seen.
They're so
I love them.
Cute. They definitely don't make me want any more cats, but they're fucking adorable.
They're the best little brothers you've ever seen. They're so fucking cute.
They're so cute, but I wish you so much luck with that orange one. Never again will I have an orange cat.
You can definitely tell the personality difference between the two of them. Yeah. Oreo is the snuggliest little lover. Reese's is he's ready to explore. Yeah. And the problem with him living inside is there are a lot of cords inside of our house, and we're kind of afraid that he's going to electrocute himself. So
it's amazing though that they actually don't. Honestly,
like, I know.
Meatloaf, and because he was so small and we got him, but he never seemed to bother cords.
Right? No.
Until now.
Well, no. Well, because about half an hour before I came inside here, Reese's was trying to get into an oil pan in the shop. And so Patrick was like, oh my god, no, he's gonna like light himself on fire, basically. And I was like, hey, well, that might be a little traumatic to, everyone. Our children and me.
Yeah.
No. So okay, outside of the kittens that are literally the love of my life, I love them so much. I've been struggling going to work the last week here because all I want to do is like sit there and like snuggle them.
You haven't had a baby animal in so long, though, honestly.
I know.
So it makes sense. Other than the chickens, but chickens are chickens. They're
They
not
can go fuck themselves, yeah.
Yeah, they're not cuddly, really.
No, God no. I did try to talk my boss into giving me maternity leave, and I know you're listening, dear boss of mine. You suck.
I should have asked her about that when I dropped Nolan off the other day.
Yeah, because she asked me where we were at on like platforms and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when I asked you about it. And so I know she's listening to us. And so, hey, it sucks that you won't give me maternity leave for my 2 babies. That's rude. It feels like discrimination. I feel like I should have time off to snuggle with them. If you want to come and snuggle with them, you know where I live, dear boss of mine. You can come snuggle them too. Away. You can come snuggle them too. All right. So aside from that, this last week has been absolute fucking hell because of sports and stuff. We had to go to Minot, which is we had to go travel for soccer, which is 4 hours away on Tuesday night. So we didn't get home until midnight on Tuesday.
Did you bring Maverick with you?
Yep. Yeah, this is why we
stayed here.
No, this is why we didn't record on Wednesday. This is why I asked if we couldn't record or if we could record a different day because we weren't in in Minot until we did not get home until like at least midnight.
Which means Maverick could have hung out with us for a little while until you guys got home, so he didn't have to. I feel like that's a long drive.
He would have probably you would have had to take him to school on Wednesday, but
yeah, and I could have done that. I'd take Nolan to school.
Well, yeah, I didn't think about that until this exact moment.
Yeah, no, I'm always willing to, but
thankfully
anyway.
Bentley's done with soccer now. So, but yeah, so Monday was like our first day where we had the kittens and we were both leaving the house and stuff. And so we had to like figure out how to adjust the house in order to keep them safe without kind of like losing them. They're so small. They're like the size of my hand. They're so small.
Babies.
Where the fuck are they gonna go? I don't know. So we're trying to keep the house or their little area safe enough for them. And then Tuesday, we had to drive 4.5 hours up to Minot and then 4.5 hours back after the soccer game. And it was like midnight until we got back. So then we let Maverick sleep in and we took him in when we took Bentley in for late start.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And then Wednesday, like we were all so tired. Like none of us could function. I couldn't finish my story. Like we were.
He had another game on Wednesday too, didn't he?
He had a game on Thursday.
Yeah, he had a game Thursday.
Yep. And then he had another game last night. And then we went out to eat. And so I was like, I just want to tell this story. I just want to be. I'm so tired. And yeah, so this week
we had all day today, though.
I know this. And I added to this story today while I had the time. I'm just
saying to relax.
Yeah, but I was just
I saw that. It was all up in there.
In my eye. Well, but like, so this week has just been a freaking, like, none of my family has actually, like, slept well because we've been running constantly.
Yeah.
So thankfully the boys didn't have school today and the 3 of us at least just kind of sat and hung out. And so the 3 of us were able to relax. And then I was going to say now Patrick is home from work and he's able to relax. So he would be like chilling at home, but no, he's.
I was going to say, what's he doing though?
He's tearing around the yard in a 4-wheeler.
He's switched to a 4-wheeler now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh,
well, he gave Bentley the go-kart, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Makes sense that way.
Mm-hmm.
At least they're not driving cars.
Oh, yeah, Bentley drives my Jeep all the time around the yard.
Bentley, fine. Maverick, probably don't do.
Are you fucking kidding? I am not stupid. I would not put that child behind. I am afraid to put him behind a car at 14. Or
I'm
behind the
afraid
wheel
to
of a
have
vehicle.
him in a car.
Honestly. Are we ready for a story?
Yeah, for the rest of the last story.
Okay.
He left us hanging for like fucking ever.
It was such... Okay, do you remember? Can you give me a recap of like what you remember of our last story so that I can start there?
Ma'am.
Okay,
I'm gonna need you to do that.
Okay, so this was like a part 2 kind of, right?
Yes.
Yes. And do you remember like the main topic of episode 1 is the murder / death of a man named James Maybrick.
Yep.
And
blamed his wife.
And his wife, and she went to jail for like 14, 15 years.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, they found like more than 100 years later, in 1992, something was found that, do you remember what was found?
Journal.
A journal that led people to believe that James could be...
I don't remember the name.
Jack the fucking Ripper.
There it is.
How do you not remember Jack the Ripper?
Man, I barely remember my own name.
Jack the Ripper, Chelsea. Okay.
I don't remember.
Okay, so from our last episode, James Maybrick died in his home, and his wife Florence spent 15 years in prison for what others believed to be the fact that she chose to murder him, and his family was convinced that she murdered him, and then everybody was convinced that she had done it, and so she spent 15 years in jail because of a bunch of wealthy white men being stupid and sexist and idiots. Like,
who blamed her for something that he basically
that she certainly did not do. Yeah. And so I expected that case, that episode, to be really short, sweet, and to the point, right? But then, wow, it took a turn. So Florence is now known as, or is hopefully known as, somebody who advocated for prison reform and just more things about making sure that her life was not known as somebody that murdered her husband or potentially murdered her husband. I don't think she did, but prison reform and just talking to people around the world about like fair trials and stuff like that. So she really did go around, and she honestly did do a lot to change the legal system in the UK at the time, in the late 1800s. And for a woman to be able to do that is really fucking impressive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at that time, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So after literally changing the landscape for hundreds of like legal situations and spending decades advocating for prison reform worldwide, because she did end up dying in the US. So she was advocating for change worldwide. So if you have not listened to the previous episode, I highly suggest you go back and listen to that one. It will explain much more about what I'm about to talk. I am going to add a lot of the facts from that episode into this one as they pertain to it. However, there still might be parts where what I say does not necessarily make full sense if you haven't heard the last episode. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Like, listen to that first, certainly, and then come back and listen to this. I am going to try to make it so that this could potentially be a standalone episode, but I don't think that I'm going to be able to, just simply based on the fact that it's Jack the fucking Ripper, and I don't know that you're able to make a one-off episode as far as it comes to that guy. So
yeah, no.
So just simply based off the title of this episode, you're gonna know that this is a Jack the Ripper conspiracy and all of that. So I really hope that you listen to the first one before this, because I think that I left the last episode on a pretty good little cliffhanger.
Yeah, sure did.
So
thanks a lot.
I did a good job. Shut up.
You did.
So I'm gonna start off by saying right now, I am not planning on doing a full in-depth episode like this of Jack the Ripper suspects for every single suspect, simply because if we were to do that, this entire podcast was just become a Jack the Ripper podcast. So the only reason I'm here for it, okay? Don't get me wrong, I'm here for it, but there's so much other things that I want to cover, and I don't think my brain could handle that. I need variety. So I'm not gonna do that. I might here and there when I start looking into Jack the Ripper more to do episodes about him. There may be kind of one-off episodes like this where I do more information about one specific person or something like that, but this is not going to be the main focus. I'm not going to do this consistently. The only reason that I am doing this specific episode is because it ties in so nicely to my last episode that was supposed to be nice and easy. And I ruined my own life that way. So.
Okay. Well, now we're just dramatic.
Okay, shut up. So, like I said, I wanted the Florence Maybrick story to be quick and easy, and my God, was I wrong.
Sure were.
So, for a pretty simple case, I definitely wandered into one of the worst cold cases and first, quote, documented serial killers in the world. So, here we go. There's a fly.
Let's go.
So, here we fucking go. At the end... Oh my God, this fucking fly!
You need a fly swatter. Did you get it? Ew. Oh my God. What the... No. Gross. Oh, okay.
I did it on accident. Okay.
Oh, accidentally on purpose?
No, I didn't mean to pick it up.
You killed her.
I figured I was gonna miss it.
You didn't.
Okay. So, at the end of the last episode, I do mention a diary found in 1992 that was supposedly written by James Maybrick that led to him being a suspect of Jack the Ripper. A lot of speculation obviously surrounds not only the validity of the diary, but who actually wrote it.
Yeah.
Right? So James, or the author, of the diary, never mentions their name, which honestly makes sense to me because, like, you don't write a diary or a journal and, like, write your own name, right? I wouldn't write, Emily did this today. You know, like, so it makes sense that the author of this journal or diary does not mention themselves by name. But that's one of the, like, for whatever reason, it seems like that's one of the things that people call out as, well, it can't be, or it's not James. He never says James by name, and it's like, I write a lot, and I never call myself Emily.
No, that's just weird. I feel like that's
weird.
It
is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so, like, that's one of the things where they're like, but he never says his name. And it's like, yeah, let
me see your journal.
That's not a compelling argument to me. That's not a compelling argument to me. But that is something that a lot of people do point to as, like, technically, he never says his name.
No shit happened.
Okay. Yeah, and so I'm like, all right, whatever. So, however, the diary does have a ton of references to James's life, such as his brothers and his children by name, where he's at, like, the cities and towns by name, just a lot of things like that. He is calling out by name, right?
Yeah.
And so it makes sense that it's like, you know, your children's names or your siblings' names or something like that. Yeah, I would call my siblings by their name if I was writing a journal, or my children by their names if I was writing a journal, but I would not call myself out.
No, what? No.
I don't know. Yeah. It does seem that Florence, his wife, is not mentioned by name. However, it does seem that he mentions her a fair amount, and he either calls her the quote whore or the quote bitch. And right now, I'm just going to give a trigger warning to anybody that is going to have a problem with really quite vulgar language. I would not personally use the word whore in my description of anybody at this point in time. Like, I would not use the word whore. But it's Jack the Ripper, so it gets pretty dark, and so there's going to be a lot of information that's going to be
harsh.
That's going to be that could be problematic. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so if you don't want to listen past this, I don't blame you. Or if you need to shut it off later, I don't blame you. There's a lot of language similar to that because that is essentially all he calls her and whatever. And there's a lot of kind of graphic detail in this diary that has to do with the victims. So if you don't want to listen to it, I completely get it. Skip through it, leave. We'll see you next time. But just a heads up right now. This is your time to stop listening if that's going to bother you. Okay, so Florence is not mentioned by name, but she is seemingly called either the quote whore or the bitch. And her affair with Alfred Brierly was mentioned a lot, but he is also not called by name, just like Florence isn't. But it does seem very likely that that's what he's talking about. So, it does state that this unknown or unnamed lover does live in Whitechapel. And Jack the Ripper's crimes all do take place in the Whitechapel district of London. So it would make sense that this is where he's kind of getting upset, right?
Yeah.
So the very first entry in this journal says, quote, and I'm going to have a lot of quotes here. Okay, it's going to be really kind of repetitive, but it's like a lot of the quotes from said journal. You know what I mean? So the very first entry says, quote, what they have in store for them, they would stop this instant. But do I desire that? My answer is no. They will suffer just as I will see to that. Received a letter from Michael. Perhaps I will visit him. We'll have to come to some sort of decision regards the children. I long for peace of mind, but I sincerely believe that will not come until I have sought my revenge on the whore and the whore master.
Okay, but whore master is actually kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of creative.
It's not the yeah.
Whore
it's
master.
Not the worst. The whore master.
I'm sorry.
I don't know.
It's a little comical.
I know, right? I was like, okay.
I wish I could come up with names like that, but I cannot. I mean, obviously not. How do I word that? I mean, creative names is what I'm saying. Not mean names, just creative nicknames.
Right. Yeah. Whore master. So now from here on out, we are going to go under the assumption that James Maybrick is Jack the Ripper. Okay. Because this is, could he be? So from now, we're going to go under the assumption that he is, simply so that I can put pieces of the diary with the actual case, the actual evidence of the Jack the Ripper case, right?
Yeah.
So clearly, like just based on this first entry, he knows that Florence is cheating on him and he is extremely angry about it, right? I just want revenge on the whore and the whore master, right? Like he knows that Florence is cheating and he's real mad about it.
Even though he was too.
Oh my God, yeah. Don't worry.
But whatever he does doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, because a man in the 1800s, untouchable. A woman in the 1800s blinks at another man, and she is
whore,
burned
apparently.
at the stake. Burned at the fucking stake. Arguably, she was sleeping with this other guy, but
meh.
Like, and it's like he's all mad about it, but it's like, you have?
She found out about his other chick before that, though. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, so she's
the
just
one with the
them
5 fucking children
that are not alive, but yes.
Yeah. Yep. So clearly in this last entry, he knows that Florence is cheating, and he's extremely mad, and now he wants revenge, right? It goes on to say, quote, "Foolish bitch, I know for certain she has arranged a rendezvous with him in Whitechapel. So be it, my mind is firmly made. Indeed, do I not frequently visit the capital, and indeed, do I not have a legitimate reason for doing so? Well, if you recall, like you just said, he was having an affair with that woman, Sarah, who had 5 fucking children with him, who lived in the Whitechapel district of London. So it's like, I have a reason to go there. Nobody's going to question me because I have business there. And I'm taking care of, this over here on the side. So nobody would ever even think that anything is going on. It makes sense for me to be there.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that he's spending a lot of time there. Essentially, is like what he's saying.
Yeah.
Quote, "My thoughts are becoming increasingly more daring. I have imagined doing all manner of things. Could I eat part of one? Perhaps it would taste of fresh fried bacon. Ha ha. My dear God, it thrills me so." Okay.
No.
Okay, bud. This is
I don't even care if this is not Jack the Ripper. That's still fucking weird.
Honestly, I do have in one of my little, like, I'd read it in the future. I will read it in the future, but I was like, if this is not Jack the Ripper, if this is James Maybrick's, if this is a hoax completely and some other person wrote this, if whoever wrote this has so much fucking anger inside of them that it is scary.
And there's no way they haven't done anything. Because that quote there is just...
Exactly. Whoever wrote this has an enormous amount of anger within them.
Yeah, and they need counseling.
It's bad, right?
Yeah.
And if it is James, or if it is whoever is Jack the Ripper, whatever, it's okay, but oh my God. And so this is still before any of the murders of Jack the Ripper would have taken place, right?
Yeah.
So it should be noted at this point that one of the kidneys and the uterus were taken from one of the Ripper victims, Catherine Eddowes. And since Jack has never been caught, nor have these organs ever been found, it cannot be proven one way or the other what happened to them.
Bye.
So, before we go, so now we're in the first little part of the diary, but before we go any further, because all of this was before any of the murders happened, and now we're going to start getting into the portion where things might line up, right?
Okay.
So before we get any more into the diary, I just want to do a quick timeline of the Ripper victims, just simply because I think it might be helpful. So there are 5 canonical victims, and that's what they're called, the 5 canonical victims. And they are the ones that everybody believes are linked to Jack the Ripper here. They are all very similar. They are all in the same area. They are all at the same time. X, Y, whatever. They're all linked. However, there are several, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 maybe, that are very similar to the canonical Ripper victims, but they're not necessarily fully linked to them.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like, they're close enough to be questionable, but they're not close enough to be like, we attribute this one to him. But they're close enough to be questionable as long as, like, say, different evidence came out or something like that. Right? Okay. So, the canonical 5. They were all killed between August 31st and November 9th, 1888. So, Mary Ann Polly Nichols was killed August 31st, I'm sorry. Annie Chapman was murdered September 8th. On September 30th was what is called the double event, when the bodies of Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes were both found. I think they were found within like an hour of each other. They were found really close together. And then finally, Mary Jane Kelly was found November 9th. So those are the 5 women that they believe they can directly connect to Jack the Ripper. There are some other ones. Martha Tabram was found August 7th, so only, 3 weeks before Mary Ann Nichols. Emma Smith was found April 4th, so a few months prior. Catherine Rose Milet was found in December of 88, so just shortly after Mary Jane Kelly. Annie Farmer was found also less than 48 hours after Mary Jane Kelly. Alice McKenzie was found July of 1889. And then the Pinchin Street Mystery, which is a body that has never been identified, and Frances Coles, neither one of them had exact dates for me. But so there's a lot of murders in this essentially really sleepy little town, or this little sleepy little district at this point in time. And they're a lot, and they're very close together.
It's really weird. Suspicious for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So in theory, there could possibly be up to 12 victims. However, if you recall, James Maybrick dies May 11th, 1889. So the body, Alice McKenzie, was found in July 1889. And she's one of the non-canonical victims, so she does not necessarily have to be related to Jack the Ripper, but she is outside of his lifespan. So, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but that they pinpoint it to
Alice McKenzie had enough similar aspects of her death, her crime, like the crime that happened against her, to where they thought it could maybe be Jack the Ripper, but it's not actually connected to him. The 5 that are connected to him are Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly. Those are the 5 that are connected directly to Jack the Ripper. These are just other ones around the same area around the same time that had similar, say, stab wounds, or say similar attributes to said crime around the same time.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so just because Alice McKenzie was found after his death, and like I said, I don't know when the Pinchin Street murder or mystery was, or Frances Cole, because I don't have dates for them, but all 3 of those, yeah, they could have happened later, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's not Jack the Ripper, because these 3 are not tied to Jack the Ripper indefinitely.
Yeah.
Does that make, you know what I mean? So, he does die on May 11th, 1889. So these 3, at the very least, Could very well not be, but they're not necessarily tied to it in the first place. So if he is Jack the Ripper, all of these murders would definitely have been committed during his lifetime, except those last 3 that we were just talking about. So, before any of the murders are mentioned, though, he mentions becoming extremely ill with uncontrollable shaking and body aches. Do you remember that he is extremely addicted to arsenic?
Yep.
Want to know some of the just symptoms of arsenic?
I'm guessing.
And he died of a and he died of a long-term illness, didn't he? Right?
Sure did.
So, question. I'm not saying nothing. I don't know nothing. If he wants to come and haunt me, well, he's got to come across the ocean, so go fuck yourself. But he was becoming extremely ill with uncontrollable, like, shaking and body aches. And like I said, James was ill for a really good long while before his death with things such as that, right? Like, it was either Florence killed him or he had arsenic overdose, basically, essentially, is what it came down to at the end there, right? And it should be noted that there is a Whitechapel district in both Liverpool, where James and Florence and their family lived, and a Whitechapel district in London. The Whitechapel district in London is where the murders took place, and there is a Whitechapel district in Liverpool, but that is not necessarily where the Maybrick family lived at the time. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So, quote, "The next time I travel to London, I shall begin. I have no doubts. My confidence is most high. I am thrilled writing this. Life is sweet, and my disappointment has vanished." Quote, "I have shown all that I mean business. The pleasure was far better than I imagined. The whore was only too willing to do her business. I recall all at it as it thrills me. There was no scream when I cut. I was more than vexed when the head would not come off. I believe I will need more strength next time. I struck deep into her." So at this point, it sounds like this is the first Ripper victim, right? Because this is the first mention of something that sounds like a fucking murder.
Ew. Yeah.
And it should be noted that the first victim, Marianne or Polly Nichols, did have extensive damage done to her neck and throat, such as where it could have possibly been a botched decapitation. And so for him to be talking about how it didn't come off as easily or whatever, and
yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah.
He goes on to say that he will not, quote, "allow much time to pass before he does attack again." And there were only like 8 days between Polly Nichols on August 31st, 1888, and Annie Chapman's murder on September 8th. So it's 9 days?
Yeah.
And quote, he will not allow much time to pass. So there's that. Quote, the bitch, she will suffer, but not as yet. Tomorrow I travel to London. I've decided I cannot wait any longer. I look forward to tomorrow night's work. It will do me good. A great deal of good."
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah. And then he goes on to write the strangest poem ever. And I'm going to read it to you. You're going to love it. It's the most nightmarish thing you've ever fucking heard. There's going to be a lot of this. Okay, so he writes this poem. But so there's a few lines that are like crossed out, like he writes it and then crosses it out, right? I'm going to read it all. All of this is crossed out. "A ring or two will leave this clue. One pill, that's true. M will catch Sir Jim with no pills. Left 2. 2 farthings, 2 pills. The whores M. Rings. Think. Then he goes on to say the pills are the answer. End with pills. And then he moves on to 1 ring, 2 rings. A farthing, 1 and 2. Sir Jim will do true. Letter M. It's true. Along with M. Ha ha. We'll catch clever Jim. It's true. Left 2. No pill. Left but 2. 1 ring, 2 rings. A farthing, 1 and 2. Along with M. Ha ha. We'll catch clever Jim. It's true. No pill. Left but 2. And then this motherfucker goes on to say, quote, am I not indeed a clever fellow? It makes me laugh. They will never understand why I did so. Next time I will remember the chalk and write my funny little rhyme.
He's so full of himself. That was like the worst poem ever, and he's just like giving himself a pat on the back.
I don't care if this is James Maybrick's actual like poem. I don't care if somebody else made it up. I don't fucking care. I cannot.
Yeah, no.
What the fuck? And don't worry, there's plenty more of these little poems that I'm about to fucking read you because oh my god, it gets so fucking stupid. So he finishes this. He finishes this poem with the am I not just the smartest man ever? Next time I'm going to bring the fucking chalk and write it out for everybody to see. Literally fucking eat me, you dumbass. So then he says in another paragraph here before the next poem, he writes, quote, the whore is in debt. Very well. I shall honor the bitch's note, but the whores are going to pay more than ever. And if you remember, Florence was severely in financial problems here, right? Remember? Yeah. She's taking out like second mortgages on their fucking home because she didn't want to stop. And she was constantly worried that James was going to find out and basically kick her out, essentially, like ruin their marriage. So so James is already upset about this money problem, or claiming that Florence has this money problem, right? The whore's problems. He goes on to write another poem.
Goody. Can't wait.
Are you ready? Yeah. It's so good. This one's better. This is better than the last one. Okay, first of all, it starts out with, I cannot stop laughing. It amuses me. So I shall write them a clue.
Oh, good.
I cannot with this fucking person. I cannot. Whoever wrote this, I want to fucking slap them in the face. May comes and goes, this May pleases, with a knife in his hand. In the dark of the night, he does please. When he comes and goes, with a ring on my finger and a knife in my hand, this May comes and goes. May comes and goes in the dark of the night. He does please the whores he kisses and gives them a fright. He kisses the whores, then gives them a fright. May comes and goes in the dark of the night. He kisses the whores, then gives them a fright. With a ring on my finger and a knife in my hand, this May spread mayhem all through the land, throughout this fair land. The Jews and the slaughtermen, the Jews and the doctors and the Jews will get all the blame. Blame tame, same game. His dirty game, May playing the doctors, the Jews and the doctors will all get the blame. But it's only May playing his dirty game. He will not shed a tear. He will kill all the whores and not shed a tear. He will give them a clue. I will give them a clue, but nothing too clear. I will kill all the whores and not shed a tear. May comes and goes in the dark of the night. He kisses the whores and gives them a fright. The Jews and the doctors will all get the blame, but it's only May playing his dirty game. I will give them a clue, but nothing too clear. I will kill all the whores and not shed a tear. With a ring on my finger and a knife in my hand, this May spreads mayhem throughout this fair land. I'm sorry.
There's definitely drugs involved somewhere in that, because what?
Well, in the last episode, he's taking a lot of arsenic.
His brains fried.
And I want to make it very clear once again, these are not the words that I would use. I would never use the word whores or Jews like that. I would never. So this is from this diary from these are not my words. So don't come for me. Don't come for me. We will link these things in the notes. So it's not me. It's not me. If I didn't have to say words like this, or if I didn't have to say the Jews and the doctors will get all the blame, I would never say that in my life. Okay, if I didn't,
it makes sense though.
It makes me like it makes my stomach hurt just saying that, because it's like the Jews and the doctors will get all. No, that's not how that works. So I don't know. That it frustrates me. It frustrates me the fact that I like have to say it for this. You know what I mean? But I can't like figure out, like I can't rewrite that in a way that it isn't offensive. You know what I mean? And still get the point across. So I apologize to anybody and everybody that might bother. So after that poem, he writes I have like my copy of the diary here next to me, and this is where I'm reading the poems from. So okay. I'm trying to like read my notes here where I've like copied parts to like put in here, and then so I'm trying to like find where I was at. So I enjoy the thrill of thinking of all I have done, but there has been but once regret for my deeds. I dispelled my remorse instantly. The whore still believes I have no knowledge of her whoring master. I've considered killing him, but if I was to do so, I surely would be caught. I have no desire for that. So then after this, he writes about the double event. Okay. And I said something about the double event earlier when I was talking about the victims.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about that? Okay. So the double event, as far as Jack the Ripper goes, is 2 bodies in one night. So first, he comes across, or first the police come across the body of Elizabeth Stride, and she's still warm, and whatever, right? So unfortunately, she is still warm, and it is called the double event, so they do find a second body that same night. It's September 30th, 1888. So, quote, I would have dearly loved to have cut the head of the damned whore off and stuffed it as far as it would go down the whore's throat. I had no time to rip the bitch wide. I curse my bad luck. I believe the thrill of being caught thrilled me more than cutting the whore herself. As I write, I find it impossible to believe he did not see me. In my estimation, I was less than a few feet from him. So, end quote. But as far as the double event goes, they found Elizabeth Stride, and they do believe somebody wandered over, like caught up to Jack the Ripper, like killing this woman and doing his thing with this woman, right? And they do believe that somebody interrupted him and his whole situation here, right? So they do believe. So they do believe, investigators of that time, investigators now, everybody believes that he was interrupted at that first murder this night. And he ran away, and he, unfortunately for Catherine Eddowes, came across her and solicited her because all of these women are sex workers, because at this point in time, that is essentially the only way for them to make money. And I will definitely go into more of them as people when I do Jack the Ripper as a whole. They deserve more of my attention as a whole than the suspects do, because fuck the suspects. But so Catherine Eddowes is also a sex worker, and so they believe that he ran away from the first one, Elizabeth Stride, found Catherine Eddowes, and killed her because he was interrupted and because he had unfinished business. So they do believe that that is why there was the double event that night, the double event. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So that is the, like, since Jack the Ripper's never been solved, it is hard to kind of say like the timeline, but that is the official timeline that everybody does agree on, is that the double event did include Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes, and they do think that Jack the Ripper got caught with Elizabeth Stride and then just wandered upon Catherine Eddowes and really took it out on her because he was not able to finish the job with Elizabeth, and so he like escalated with Catherine. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. They were both found dead within about an hour of each other, and both bodies were still warm, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I will go more into this when we do Jack the Ripper. I am going to say right now, I did intend on Jack the Ripper being the next couple episodes, but I don't think I can do it yet. I thought that it would really funnel nicely after these episodes, but I don't think my brain can handle it at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a lot of, no.
I do intend to do Jack the Ripper. I want to do his victims the justice that they deserve, and I want to do it right, and I really did think that I was going to be able to start it our next episode, and as much as I'm going to try and read as much as I can and research as much as I can, I don't think that I'm going to be able to do it next because stuff like this does make my brain hurt. I know it doesn't necessarily always seem like it. Things like this don't necessarily bother me very often. I don't normally have a problem. I can watch things, I can listen to things, I can read things. I really do not have a problem most of the time. But in some circumstances there's so much evidence, or there's so much to read about, that it does get really tiring. And in like I'm not saying in a bad way, but it's just, I need something to distract my brain from the fucking horror that is happening. So I did intend on Jack the Ripper being next, just like a couple part series on his own, but I don't think that that's what's going to happen. So okay. Anyways, we continue. Quote, "I would have dearly loved to have cut the head of the damned whore off and stuffed it." Oh, wait. Did we read that? Stuffed it as far as it would go down the whore.
Yes.
Okay. Give me 2 seconds, then I gotta. Okay. Okay. So, as I write, I find it impossible to believe he did not see me. In my estimation, I was less than 10 feet away. Did I read all of that?
Yep.
Okay. So because these bodies were found so close together, not only in time but in location, and both of these women were still warm, it is heavily believed that Jack had been interrupted, and because of that, he felt he had unfinished business and just happened to run across Catherine Eddowes. Catherine Eddowes is the Jack the Ripper victim that was missing one of her kidneys and her uterus, and so it makes sense that after nearly being caught, that he would escalate, and in this case, by taking body parts with him when he left. That makes sense. So the diary says, quote, "Her nose annoyed me, so I cut it off. Had a go at her eyes, left my mark. Could not get the bitch's head off. I believe now it is impossible to do so. The whore never screamed. I took all I could away with me, and saving it for a rainy day." So with
interesting thing to say for a rainy day, but
yeah. So Catherine Eddowes, in her autopsy report or postmortem, says, quote, great disfigurement of the face and the throat was cut. Quote, there was a deep cut over the bridge of her nose extending from the left border of the nasal bone down to near the angle on the right side of the jaw. So kind of this way. Right? Left ear down, right? Kind of looks like it's going to take this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This cut went into the bone and divided all the structures of the cheek except the mucous membrane of the mouth, which means this is really fucking deep. If it's coming this way into you, you're not going to hit your mouth, really, right?
No.
And so for it to pierce literally everything except the mucous membrane of your mouth is. The tip of the nose was quite detached by an oblique cut from the bottom of the nasal bone to where the wings of the nose join onto the face. So then, this motherfucker writes another goddamn poem. Redhead, horse, cried, smelt breath. A nose matched the red. I did cut the head. Damn it, I cried. Henceforth, I did hide. The horse went and shied. With a rose to match the red, I tried to cut off the head. Damn it, I cried. The horse went and shied, but I could still smell her sweet-scented breath. Sir Jim, tin matchbox empty, cigarette cased. Make haste. My shiny knife, the whore's knife. First whore, no good. One whore, no good. Decided Sir Jim, strike another. I showed no fright, and indeed no light. Damn it, the tin box was empty. 2. Tea and sugar, away, pay, did say. Me plebe. Tea and sugar paid my fee. Sweet sugar and tea could have paid my small fee. Ha ha! Then I did flee, showed my glee. A kidney for supper. Sweet sugar and tea could have paid my small fee, but instead I did flee, and by way showed my glee by eating cold kidney for supper.
Yuck.
Act 3. Bastard, Aberline, bonnet hides all. Clue, clever. Will tell you more. Mr. Aberline is a funny little man. Oh, Mr. Aberline, he's a clever little man. He keeps back all that he can, but I know better. For do I know better? Indeed I do. Do I not leave him a very good clue? Nothing is mentioned. Of this I am sure. As clever Aberline, he does not know more. Oh, Mr. Aberline, he's a clever little man. He keeps back all that he can. For do I not know better? Indeed I do. Do I not leave him a very good clue? Nothing is mentioned of this, I am sure. Ask clever Aberline. Could tell you more? Sir Jim, trip over. Fear, have it near. Redeem it near. Case, post haste. He believes I will trip over, but I have no fear. I cannot redeem it here, for I could not possibly redeem it here. Of this certain fact, I could send him post haste, if he requests that be the case. Am I not a clever fellow?
No.
Go fuck
that is
yourself.
So weird. Like it's not even a poem right? At that point. It's just a bunch of words.
No, it's a fucking
it's
like Beowulf. It's like a fucking epic poem that just sucks that 7th graders have to read and want to rip their fucking hair out because you're so fucking stupid.
Yeah, and
nobody wants to listen
sense.
to you. Seriously, is it not just the fucking worst? There's more. Look, I read you to this point.
Oh God.
Ready?
Okay.
Are you ready for more? I cannot with this motherfucker. Whoever fucking wrote this, James, whatever, I don't fucking care. Whoever wrote this, I want to punch in their fucking nose and break it. Ready? With a rose to match the red, I tried to cut off the head.
Damn it, I cried. Because apparently he just adjusted the last one.
With a okay.
He just adjusted the last one,
and so here it is. With the rose to match the red, I tried to cut off the head.
Damn it, I cried.
The horse went and shied. Henceforth I did hide, but I could still smell her sweet scented breath. One whore, no good, decided Sir Jim to strike another. I showed no fright, and indeed no light. Damn it, the tin box was empty. Sweet sugar and tea could have paid my small fee, but instead I did flee. By way showed my glee by eating cold kidney for supper. Oh, Mr. Aberline, he's a clever little man. He keeps back all that he can. For do I not know better? Indeed, I do. Did I not leave him a very good clue? Nothing is mentioned of this, I am sure. Ask clever Aberline.
Could tell you more.
He believes I will trip over, but I have no fear, for I could not possibly redeem it here. Of this certain fact, I could send them post haste,
if he requested that be the case.
I want to punch somebody so fucking bad in the head.
It just doesn't make any sense, and it just annoys me. Like, it's just a bunch of the same words over and over and over and over and over again.
And yep. So there's and this goes on for, as far as I have printed off, 10 more pages.
Yeah.
So we could keep going. But after all of what I've gone through already and these fucking poems and stuff, what do you think? Did the guy that find this actually, like, where are you kind of sitting at with this journal and the whether it's real or not? Where are you kind of sitting?
I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea, because it's so out of this world that I can't even come up with anything in my head.
Okay, right? It's like I said, I still have 10 pages, 15 pages left on this fucking thing, and I haven't even touched it yet. So, diary is it was found in 1992, right? It was handed over. People were like, "Oh my god, this can this possibly be like Jack the fucking Ripper?" And whatever. And so obviously because of that, it has been subjected to hundreds of like tests, right?
Yeah. I would hope so.
Is it from the right era? Yeah. Is it from the right era? Like, people trying to confirm its validity. It does seem that, as far as I could tell, all of the paper, the ink, all of that, like everything does seem to be from the right era of like the late 1800s, the early 1900s, where or the late 1800s, where it could be written by somebody like James Maybrick, who was alive at that time.
Yeah.
So all of that does seem to be, that does seem to be accurate. And this, what everybody was saying was like there was a construction crew doing work on the home that used to be James the Maybrick home, and they were pulling up floorboards and they found it under there.
Yeah.
Right. And so and that also makes sense, because like I have a really beautiful hardwood floor in my house that I would never want to rip up. That has been covered by like carpet and stuff, and the carpet I do want to rip up, but I don't want to rip the floor up. You know what I mean?
No, I do. Yeah.
And so if I was going to try to replace like the wood flooring in my house or something, this was apparently found underneath that wood flooring, right? Like during renovations and stuff. And so that's why they found it in the 1990s instead of earlier. And so all of that makes sense. So, okay. The journal has been very highly scrutinized. as to who wrote it, or is it forged? Where did it fucking come from? So there is no evidence prior to this diary that even led anybody to suspect James Maybrick. So prior to this diary, he was not a suspect at all for like 100 years.
Really? I suppose.
I would like to point out that the canonical 5 were all murdered and found prior to his death.
Oh.
So the canonical 5 were all murdered and found prior to his death in 1889. And he had a very good reason at that time to be spending a lot of time in the Whitechapel district of London.
Well, yeah.
So that is all fact. These murders were committed prior to his death, and all in the Whitechapel district of London, where his affair partner and was having his 5 children.
Yeah.
So all of those were taking place during his life. So and because of that, he would also have a very good knowledge of where things are in Whitechapel.
Yeah.
Which streets are where, what alleys are going to take him where they need to take him, all that. He would have a really good knowledge of that. Regardless of whether or not he's Jack the Ripper, he knows those back streets. He knows where to turn. He knows all of that.
Yeah, and if that journal or diary is his, it's still really fucked up. Regardless.
If it's not, it's even more, in my opinion. Somebody else just made that up.
Weird.
Right?
It's just,
okay, so.
It's gross, actually. It's really gross and disturbing.
So.
I'm not okay with it.
So. This diary is found in 1992, supposedly. There are 2 stories about where it came from. Either construction, renovating a home and finding it under these 1880s floorboards, or it being in somebody's family for like generations and just being passed down. Okay. So prior to this journal being found, there was nothing pointing to James Maybrick as a suspect for Jack the Ripper. So it feels like with all of the manpower that was put into this case for so fucking long, that it feels like his name would have come up sooner. Yeah. Doesn't it? So essentially, if the diary is real, it's extremely damning. Right?
Yeah.
It's extremely damning. And I mean, I didn't even go through the whole thing. And I was able to kind of pinpoint all of these little things, right? So essentially, if the diary is real, it's extremely damning. But the man who claimed to have found the diary, his name is Michael Barrett, found it in 1992, and in 1995, he comes out and claims the diary was a scam. Quote, I, Michael Barrett, just wait, don't make that face at me yet.
Okay.
Quote, I, Michael Barrett, was the author of the original diary of, quote, Jack the Ripper, and my wife, Ann Barrett, handwrote it from my typed notes and on occasion my dictation, the details of which I will explain in due course. Quote, we looked closely at the background of James Maybrick, and I read everything to do with the Jack the Ripper matter. I felt...
Okay.
Right. I felt Maybrick was an ideal candidate for Jack the Ripper. Most important of all, he could not defend himself.
Oh shit, he was dead.
Honestly, what the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Apparently a lot. Okay,
if this is not written, if this is all a fucking the amount of shit that this man went through with his death and his wife and all of that, right? The amount of shit that this family fucking went through already, and you are like, I am gonna make this so much fucking worse for fun. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it so much worse for fun. Because, like,
his death, his addiction, his affairs, his Florence's trial, like all of their life together, where people are dying, people are getting lost, people are getting sick, like their children are like having to be sent away because their siblings are being like sick and they don't want to get into like all of these financial problems, like whatever. And he's going through this genuinely. And you're like, I'm going to make this so much fucking worse for this guy. I think he's Jack the Ripper. Go fuck yourself if you did that for fun because he cannot defend himself.
Well, then
Go
come
fuck
out
yourself.
and admit it.
He's a bad guy already. Like, we know that. He's a bad guy already, but that does not mean he is fucking Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's a bad guy already, but if you do this for fun, go fuck yourself. Yeah. So he claimed that around January or February of 1990, he and his wife Anne began researching the necessary materials such as pens, ink, and paper from the correct time period so that the diary would look as authentic as possible. He also claimed that his father-in-law even gave him £50 to fund this endeavor because he also thought it was a good idea.
No!
Look, my father-in-law loves me, and I know he will support me 100% through anything. But if I said, hey, bud, I have an idea. I want to make a pretend Jack the Ripper diary, and I want to make it look like this one random guy from the 1800s, but I need money to buy the correct ink from that time period. He would not be like, here's £50. He'd be like, you're a fucking lunatic.
You're a psycho.
Please leave my house. And he, like, I love him and he loves me, but he would be like, get the fuck out of my home because this is insanity and I'm not dealing with this. And I don't blame him for kicking me out at that point because wow. But no, he says that his father-in-law gives him £50 to fund the endeavor because he thinks it's also a great idea. Quote, I finally decided in November of 1993 that enough was enough, and I made it clear from that time on that the diary of Jack the Ripper was a forgery. This brought a storm down on me, abuse and threats, followed by, abuse and threats followed and attacks on my character as Paul Feldman. I don't know who Paul Feldman is. I Googled for hours. It's MIA Productions Limited. I have no clue who he is. I Googled him. I Googled MIA Productions Limited. I don't know. All I could find was some sort of bagel man. I don't know. Either way, Michael Barrett here does not like Paul Feldman. So, attacks on my characters, Paul Feldman led this attack because I suppose he had the most to gain from discrediting me. Later in his statement, he said that Paul Feldman, quote, took control of his wife, Anne, and that's why she left him. And, quote, my child. He claims that Feldman, quote, rang me up continuously, threatening and bullying me and telling me I would never see my family again. So Michael Barrett has a fucking vendetta against this Paul Feldman guy. And I can't find any information about either of them because, I don't know, I keep getting just random like LinkedIn profiles of people that are not the people I'm looking for. So Paul Feldman is the bagel man mentioned in Freakonomics by Levitt and Dubner. Man who started his own business selling bagels instead of pursuing an old occupation as a director of non-defense research at the Center of Naval Analysis. He would leave bagels next to a box with a slit in the top in an office building, leaving a sign asking whoever took a bagel to leave money in return. This is all I could ever fucking find about Paul Feldman, was this fucking bagel man. So I tried, I don't know, something about my Google algorithm or something just did not want me to learn more about this man, I guess.
Maybe just wanted you to have bagels.
I love bagels. If I'm gonna eat some breakfast, it's gonna be a fucking bagel or an English muffin.
Yes, I was just gonna say that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so either way, he's real pissed about Paul Feldman. Because Paul Feldman made his wife Anne leave him. And then he goes on to claim that Anne Barrett comes to visit him in December of 1994, right? So his ex-wife now comes to visit him in 1994 after this whole thing, right? And she asks him to, quote, keep his mouth shut, end quote, and said if he did, he could receive 20,000 pounds before the end of the month. As soon as that conversation was over, quote, she was all over me and we even made love. It was all very odd because just as quickly as she made love to me, she threatened me and returned to her old self. So now Michael Barrett here is like, hey, it's this guy's fault that my wife left after supposedly we forged this document and it's his fault. But then she came over to talk to me about it and we fucked. And then all of a sudden she was mad again.
Maybe it wasn't that good.
And I think we need confirmation on that. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't look at me.
During this conversation, though, while Anne was threatening him, quote, she insisted Mr. Feldman was a very nice Jewish man who was only trying to help her. So that's why you guys wrote this, quote, unquote, wrote this. And then Mr. Feldman here made her leave you. But he's a nice Jewish man. And so that makes a difference. So basically, what is in this sworn affidavit, this is a sworn affidavit through the fucking court, okay? He has 2 of these. He does include information about when and where and for how much. They do buy the things like paper and the ink and the pens and stuff that would be like time appropriate for like fraudulently making this journal. And it does sound pretty legitimate. I will admit that. But later, he retracts everything.
Of course he does, because he's an idiot.
Yeah. Or, honestly, I don't know, because it feels like really sketchy to begin with if his, like, ex-wife is, like, threatening. Like, right, she comes over after he has said, hey, we did this. It's fake, blah, 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 whatever. And then she comes over and she's like, hey, let's fuck. Guy's a good guy. Goodbye. Right? And then he's like, hey, I made this all up. So apparently whatever she had to say at that point was not effective, right? Because he went, nah, I made it up. You know, instead of what she was asking was this is all fake. You made it up. Blah, 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 whatever, right?
Yeah.
If you stick with that story, you'll have $20,000 by the end of the month, blah, 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 whatever. And he's like, nope. I fucked it up. I did not do that. Whatever, right?
Yeah.
He does have a lot of information about when and where and how much they bought. And I'm not going to bother going through it because it's really kind of boring because it's like, I went to Walmart and for 37 cents, I bought 2 pen nibs for this kind of a pen, and this is the person who checked us out at it's
so I much read it because details.
He was very he had a lot of detail. I read it so you don't have to, but yeah, it was like I went to Walmart at 1:35 p.m. on October 10th, 2024, and I bought this package of pens for $3.78, and then the person that checked me out was named Alyssa, and their name was spelled Alyssa, and then I was followed out to my car. It's like there is a lot of fucking information like that in his like deposition. That
weird.
Yep. So it is very, but He later retracts his statement, and his now wife, Anne Graham. I said that out loud. Her name is Anne. Fuck, her name is Anne Graham. Anagram.
Anagram.
God damn it. Graham is her maiden name, as far as I can tell. Oh my god. Okay, so Anne. So she comes to tell him, like, she comes to threaten him, basically. You're gonna say that this is fucking what happened, right? And if not, you're gonna die, essentially, right?
Yeah.
And then he comes out and says, hey, I made all of this up. This is like, I'm retracting all of this. And Anne comes out and goes, yeah, no, that's accurate. That's accurate. The diary has been in my family's possession since prior to 1950s. He got it from my family. We've had it since before the 50s. He's not making this up. He's not doing this, whatever. Which is really interesting to me because it's like, honey, do you want to threaten him or not? But it's weird to me where the fact that she comes over and like basically threatens him, and then they fuck and whatever, right? And she's like, this guy is like a fucking Greek god. Love him. He's perfect. He's helping me. He's saving us. And then they're broken up, and now he's like, none of that was accurate. And she's like, actually, no, he's fucking right. I don't see an ex relationship like that where people would kind of like team up and come up with the same response after being divorced and after being like, say, like he said, he was threatened and whatever, and she was like being brainwashed by this guy apparently and whatever. And so for both of them to kind of come out later and be like, I made it up, and for her to be like, no, I had that book in my family for decades, for like 100 years at this point, whatever, and both of them to kind of come up with that individually, that's odd to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It is weird. It's really weird.
And maybe I'm just jaded because divorce does nothing good to people in my family. In my head, when two people get divorced, they can't even look at each other. So in my head, for that, like,
in my defense, I don't want
fair.
to.
But like, I think that for them to both be like for him to take it back and be like, no, I made that up. Like, I was threatened. I was told to say that this is what happened, blah, blah, blah. I made it up. Like, I was told to say that I made it up and whatever. And then for both him and his ex-wife now to come back after she had already threatened him too on Paul Feldman's behalf to be like, no, I've had that in my family for like 80 years or whatever now at this point. So it's like,
yeah,
I feel like they wouldn't have come up with that on their own. You know what I mean? Or like,
yeah,
it's they wouldn't I'm trying to think of like a really legitimate way for me to say this without being like really one way or the other, but it feels like based on what I know from divorced couples or something like that, whatever, it's interesting that she would make a point to be like, no, this was all like, him confessing to this was fucking fake. You know?
Mm-hmm.
This was fake.
Yeah.
Especially because he's like, yeah, no, like, Paul Feldman here, he came to help her, or she thinks that he helped her, and this is what's happening and whatever. And for her then all of a sudden to just be like, no. It almost feels to me that say she was brainwashed and all of a sudden it cracked. And she was like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And not that that's the case, but just that is kind of what that feels like to me. So, all right. What do you think, Chels?
I think whoever actually wrote that needed a lot of therapy.
Do you think that it is James Maybrick?
No.
No?
Mm-mm. I don't. I don't know why. I just don't get the feeling that it was him.
I don't either. No, I agree. I don't either. I don't think it was him either. I do think that it was, I think that it, for myself, it was really fun to kind of dig into. And it was really fun for me to, say, put diary entries compared to or next to actual facts of the case.
Yeah,
I think that was really fun for me, but I don't believe that James Maybrick is a legitimate suspect for Jack the Ripper.
No, and I don't think Jack the Ripper has anything to do with that journal or diary, whatever, either. I think
no, especially because, like, for the most part, the main thought is that it's this Michael Barrett that found it in the 90s, that he was the one that wrote it.
Yeah.
And so that's, like, the main theory right now, is he's the one that wrote it. But seriously, honestly, whoever fucking wrote this, I don't care if it's Jack the Ripper. I don't care if it's James Maybrick. But if the words that you say, I am convinced God placed me here to kill all the whores, for he must have done so. Am I still not here? Nothing will stop me now. The more I take, the stronger I become. No. Whoever fucking wrote this. Oh, look, here's a note. Whoever fucking wrote this is angry. The bitch, the whore, is not satisfied with one whore master. She now has eyes on another. I could not cut like my last. Visions of her flooded back as I struck. I tried to quash all thoughts of love. I left her for dead. That I know. I did not. It did not amuse me. There was a thrill. I have showered my fury on the bitch. I struck and struck. I do not know how I stopped. I have left her penniless. I have no regards. The whore will suffer unlike she has ever suffered before. May God have mercy on her, for I shall not. So help me. Whoever fucking wrote this needs help. I don't care if it was James Maybrick or Jack the Ripper or this Michael Barrett guy.
It doesn't matter if it's any of them.
Sick. It's so sick.
It's somebody who really hated women.
It's somebody so who really fucking sick.
Hated
and
women.
Michael Barrett here was saying that, like, he had read all of this information about the Jack the Ripper case and about James Maybrick so that they could, like, come up with a story, and that because Anne's writing was easier to, like, hide or, like, be more time focused, where his was too distinctive. So he had to write all of these stories and she had to, like, handwrite them. And so, like, he wrote all of these stories, and then Anne, in this situation, would have handwritten all of them.
The kittens are going crazy and they knocked over all my shit. So.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they're fucking awake now. Anyway.
I don't know. It's just disgusting, and I think whoever came up with, even, like I said, even if it's fake and Anne wrote it based on what Michael had dictated, somebody needs
somebody's
a fucking psychologist. Yeah, it's disgusting. Something bad is going on in your brain, because, like, the bitch, the whore, is not satisfied with one whore master. She now has her eyes on another.
It's just gross.
The whore will suffer unlike she has ever suffered. May God have mercy on her, for I shall not. So help me. That's insane. That's disgusting. Whoever has written that, whether it is James Maybrick, whether it is Jack the Ripper, whether it is Michael Barrett, who quote found this journal under a floorboard or whatever. Whoever wrote that is desperately in need of help mentally.
Yep.
So I don't necessarily. It is. I don't necessarily believe that it is a Jack the Ripper thing.
I don't think so.
I do believe that whoever did write it was really, really working hard to make it look like it was James Maybrick really writing as Jack the Ripper, but I don't think that this was a Jack the Ripper suspect.
No, it was somebody who just wanted attention somehow. You know,
Yep.
and obviously if they had all those thoughts in their head, they still had something going on.
It's fucking scary, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
Obviously this was like in the 90s. I think he came out in like 95 or 96. I think he came out in 95 and said that it was forged and that it was like either 96 or 97 where he like retracted all of it.
Yeah.
And that's fine, right? If you're feeling like forced to say something like that and then retract it, yeah, that makes sense, right? But no, I don't think that I don't think that James Maybrick is a legitimate suspect for Jack the Ripper, in my opinion.
I don't think so either. He sounded pretty busy, so I don't think he had time to do all of that.
Well, he was also having a multitude of affairs, and he did have 5 children.
That's my point. He was too busy getting it in to...
Yeah, but he really wasn't doing much outside of that, so he had plenty of time to wander the streets of Whitechapel, in my opinion.
That's fair. He was working, though, so...
No, he wasn't. He said he was working. He was not working. Hey, babe, I'm going on a work trip.
I'm just trying to cover it.
Oh, no, he was a bad guy. He was a bad guy to begin with. Like,
he was not fun, no.
He was horrible. He was a horrible man. He committed plenty of crimes.
I don't think he killed anybody, though.
He committed enough crimes.
Except himself.
But I don't think that he is Jack the Ripper.
Nah. No.
Nope,
and I don't think he had anything to do with this journal.
I think this journal was really interesting to, like, dig into, though, and kind of, like, find where things, like, were matching up and stuff.
Yeah, where they made, yeah.
Yeah, and so it was, like, there's a reason this has been so highly scrutinized because, like, the ink and the paper and all of the, like forensic details do line up. Like, it does say the paper is from the right time, the ink is from the right time. It does appear that, like, the lines made in the paper is also from the right time period, and it's, like, not fresh or whatever. And so I think that that's very interesting, but...
And it could still be from then, but it doesn't have to be his. Like, there's still how many people around him.
Yeah. The one thing was, like, it was found in his house. The thing is, like, it was, quote, found in his house under the floorboard in his bedroom, so.
So, I mean, he could have died and somebody put it in there after the fact.
Honestly.
Like, or what if... going in and out of your house all the time, you don't...
Or, like, if you think about it, like, so from the story in the first episode, so Florence was there, his wife was there, or he had how many people working in his home, different nurses, his brothers. Oh, by the way, speaking of his brothers, his brother Michael, the famous oh god, I want to say architect, and I know that's not right. The music guy.
Oh, yeah.
The music guy, the famous... This is embarrassing.
Yeah, it is.
The famous symphony. He wrote symphonies. He was going by the name Steven for a while.
Yeah, we'll have to go back to the last episode and remember that word.
Nobody come at us because we don't care.
No.
Nobody was like the author, that's not right. The writer, Chelsea, this is embarrassing.
My brain hurts. Hold on.
Composer? Composer.
Is that what it is?
Oh my god, Chelsea. I don't know. This is embarrassing.
Everything's currently embarrassing.
Composer, yeah. His brother Michael, who became a famous composer under the stage name Stephen Adams.
Oh, why did I think it was a different word?
Side note, apparently Michael Maybrick is also on the list of Jack the Ripper suspects. And he's actually higher up. He was actually determined to be more of a suspect than James was, and long before James was.
Kind of
so
see that,
Stephen, right? Like, well, and in my head, that kind of makes sense as to why they were able to like so quickly like add James onto that. You know?
Yeah.
Like if his family is already kind of being looked at or questioned, it does. Yeah, but so apparently Michael or Stephen Adams.
That seems right though, because if you think about it, he really hated Florence.
Sure did. Michael and his brothers, Edwin and Thomas, were like, "Hey, go fuck your wife. She's going to jail."
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they're the ones
absolutely.
who got her in jail. They put her in jail, so they all hated her.
Sure did.
For no reason.
Yep.
That makes sense. That does make sense.
Yeah, and so Michael, his brother Michael, was actually like one of the actual suspects, and then this journal came out and they were like, oh, maybe it's James, but everybody else is like, it's fucking Michael. The problem is the journal mentions Michael by name and it does not mention James by name, and so it's like this. Well, so in theory this is James's journal, but honestly, like we said, it's nobody calls out their own name in a journal. And if this is fucking made up, but if this journal is made up and James was not a suspect until the like 1992 or 3 or whatever, whenever this came out, but Michael was a suspect in the 1800s.
So what if
it's interesting that the family had a connection already?
So what if Michael wrote it in the James perspective to make it seem like it was James?
Maybe, but that feels like a lot of extra work. He's already going by a pseudonym as Stephen Adams with his like being a composer. He's already going by a pseudonym with as far as that goes, but so I think that by adding another pseudonym it would be more difficult to keep track of.
Okay, so what happens if was the other brothers mentioned at all?
In the journal or as suspects?
Journal.
In the journal, yes.
Damn it.
Yep. Okay, Edwin, Thomas, Michael, and William are all mentioned by name in the journal. James is the only, because there's the 5 brothers, Michael, William, Thomas, and Edwin, and then James. And James is the only one that's not mentioned by name.
Okay, well, I still don't think it's his.
No, I don't think so either. But I think that it was really, really interesting that Michael was a suspect in the 1800s.
Yeah.
When this was happening. But James is the one that this journal has come out as James's journal as. Yeah. I think it's really interesting that like one brother was suspected at the time and the other one is like suspected now.
Yeah.
Kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's actually
it's like really something weird. About that family has been around for like 200 years at this point where something is going on.
Yeah, it's suspicious. There's something fishy in that scenario.
Yeah. It's really weird, isn't it?
It is. I don't like it.
So, I know that was like not the most suspenseful, wild episode that I've ever given you, but
Has a lot of weird shit in it, though.
It has a lot of twists and turns, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, all of this makes sense, but then there's this guy, but then his brothers, and
yeah,
just there's a lot that kind of all like folded on top of each other.
Yeah.
As far as that journal went, especially after the chaos that led up to his death with his poor wife. So now they're like, hey, fuck you. And then, like you said, his brother Michael was the one that essentially led the charge against Florence.
Yeah.
And he was one of the actual suspects back in the 1800s. So.
Yeah. Weird. Oh, weird.
And I really, really do plan to do Jack the Ripper. I was really, really planning on starting it like our next episode, but I don't. There's just so much to know about Jack the Ripper that I don't think that I can. I think that if I think that I could come up with a story, and I could be really proud of myself for the story I come up with, but I don't think that it would be the story that I want to come up with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it might be down the road.
I definitely could do it. Yeah. Absolutely. It will be down the road. I definitely could come up with a story, and it would be a story that I would be proud of and that I'm happy to tell. But I think that I know we're doing every other week now. And that does give me more time to research and read and write and all everything. But I don't. It's Jack the Ripper. No amount of time is going to give me enough time. So
yeah, that'll be just down the road. Let's worry about it later.
And my brain needs a break from just the
whatever just
nasty.
happened. And yeah.
Honestly, reading stuff like this, it sounds really bad for me, but it doesn't bother me.
It doesn't bother me, but it's just like I'm trying to figure out why, you know?
Yeah. Yep. And in my brain, it's that. I want to know why. But then I will Google this, and I will Google that, and I will Google this, and I will go down 1,000 different little rabbit holes. And I haven't even started the first paragraph of my sentence. Yeah. And with Jack the Ripper, it's going to be a multi-part.
Yeah, it'll be a long episode, a couple episodes.
Yeah. And I am gonna start it right now. I have, I think, 4 books right now in my one reading bag. I think I have 4. I can't read 4 books right away, but so I gotta take notes, and I gotta do. It's just I even with having 2 weeks, it won't be enough time. So
yeah,
Jesus Christ. Goodbye, Meatball.
Michael's gonna kill you.
Meatball.
He can't.
I love you.
He can't hear you.
Meatball, are you such a good boy? Michael. Bite me. Sing me the song, Michael.
He won't sing it.
Meatball.
He will not sing it. Trust me.
Michael?
Next time?
Either that or Meatball's just gonna listen to me sing Meatball.
Even though he's meatloaf.
I don't care. It's like Dory trying to speak whale.
You already did that once.
I know.
Ow.
And I need to win over Meatloaf. So that Michael doesn't win.
Michael already won.
It's just because he lives there.
He has his last name. He's Meatloaf Hastings. He's Baby Hastings.
I called the vet today.
Oh, God.
To make appointments for the babies.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, okay, so what are their names? And I said, well, one is Oreo. And she goes, let me guess, is he black and white? And I said, yes, he sure is. And then I said the next one. She's like, what is it? Well, like, what color? Because they've never been there, so she's trying to get all the information, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, his name is Reese's. And she goes, is he orange? And I said, yes, he is. And then I said, would it surprise you that my children named these fucking cats? And she goes, not even a little bit.
That's when I took Meatloaf in for the first time and we told them their name. She goes, "Oh, somebody brought their cat named Potato," and I'm like, I
know who that was.
I think that's my friend.
Actually, Potato is his brother. Actually,
no, they're not related.
I'm just kidding. No, I know.
Oh,
I know, but you know what I mean.
Basically, kinda not blood related.
That's actually his stepbrother. Potato is Meatball's stepbrother. Actually, we love them. I fucking called him Meatball again, didn't I?
That is why it's not going away. Michael's gonna give you shit forever. You're done.
Mm-hmm.
This is why we have to sing a song to Meatloaf.
Yep. Meatball, meatballs, meatballs, meatballs.
He's like, no, I'm just a baby loaf. I'm just a little loaf. I'm not a ball. Just
don't put any of this in the actual episode.
It's gonna be in there. You can tell that we're both just like exhausted and just like our brains are done. Okay, we need to end this because we cannot carry on anymore.
Chelsea, I can't. I'm gonna pee my fucking pants. I've called him Meatball. I've called him Meatball about 400 times now, and I know that's not his name.
Okay, everyone, like, subscribe, follow. Emily has to pee, and she keeps calling my cat Meatball when his name is Meatloaf. So we shall see you guys in 2 weeks.
Follow us on Patreon and all that too, because we're gonna
all the things.
Do all the things. And actually, if you would share us with like 5 people, that would be great.
Unless you don't know 5 people like me.
That would be great. If you send our podcast to 10 people, we will send you a sticker. Mom needs a minute sticker. So send us to 10 people and we'll send you a sticker. Chelsea,
where are we getting these stickers?
Chelsea, I'm going to figure it out.
Okay. I think it's time to go.
I think it's time to go too.
Oh,
Chelsea,
shit.
I'm gonna figure
all right.
it
out. Okay.
We have stickers
right here.
We do have stickers.
Okay.
We do.
We do?
Mm-hmm.
We do?
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, make it happen.
All right, you make it happen. I'll be right here.
So share us with 10 people and message us. And we'll send you a sticker.
Okay.
Bye-bye. I don't know what's happening.
Bye.